Alright, hello and welcome. So in today's video what we will do is we will learn about WDS. WDS stands for Windows Deployment Services. So let me open up the Paint so that I can basically explain it to you. So let's just say that you have a computer, right? This is your computer. If I ask you to install operating system on it, how are you going to install? How are you going to install operating system on this single machine? How are you going to install operating system on this single machine? What you will do is you will either use CD, you will use flash drive, and you will make it bootable, and then you will install operating system, right? This is the most common way. After you install operating system, what is needed? You need to create a username and password. You need to assign computer name, and you need to join it to the domain, and you need to install what? Applications. That's what you do, right? That is what you do. So Kawa, if I give you a computer and say, Kawa, this is your computer, there is no operating system. What are you going to do, Kawa, to install operating system? You will use flash drive, you will use CD drive, and then once you install it, what you will do is, Kawa, you will type computer name, you will join it to the domain, then you will install applications. Applications such as Microsoft Office, right? Such as Microsoft Office, Adobe PDF, and so on. That's how you will do it. But Kawa, if you are working for a company and you have hundreds of computers, and each computer, after operating system installation, you need to make sure they are up to date. You need to make sure 10 applications are installed, 15 applications are installed. It is joined to the domain. It is following the computer naming. It has the username and password and some other settings. Don't you think it's a lot of work to do it manually one by one? You remember Kawa Zia, I don't know if you remember this thing, ghost imaging we were using at NI. At NI we were using this, and then we had like hundreds of laptops, right? Hundreds of laptops, and then what we were doing was we were using this software called ghost imaging, and through the network we were installing all laptops, and then it was installing 10-15 at the same time. You remember that? So that's what we were doing, right? So what is WDS? WDS is one of the services that is with server, that comes with server. It stands for Windows Deployment Services. What is the job of WDS? The job of WDS is, it is a server. So WDS is a server that you have in the network, and through this PXE. PXE is used when you do what? When you do network boot. One, you boot through CD-ROM, right? You boot through flash. But with WDS, you boot through network, and that is called PXE boot. Alright, so what is the job of WDS? In WDS server, you install the image. You install the image, like for example for Windows 10 for server. Then you do what? You do settings. You say that once you install a computer, it should also come up with applications. It should also join it to the domain. It should also have a computer name, naming convention, and then username. So in WDS you can create an image with predefined settings. With predefined settings, you define those settings, and once you install, at the same time, you can install Windows 10 Server in hundreds of computers, right? You can install it in multiple computers at the same time. That is what we do with what? With WDS. That is what we do with Windows Server Deployment Services. Correct? That is what we do with Windows Server Deployment Services. That is the job of WDS. That is the job of what? WDS. Any questions? Alright, so let's go and let's just install WDS. How do we install WDS? Click on Start, click on Server Manager, and same place, Add Roles and Features. This is where we install all features and roles. This is a role that we are installing. Next, we are installing it on this server. Because this is our test environment, we are installing it here, but if you go to larger organizations, they have a separate WDS server. Next, if you scroll down, you see Windows Deployment Services. Click it. Next, 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 and we want to install deployment server. Next, and then install. So now it will start the installation of WDS for us. Alright, so WDS looks like is installed. We will basically close it. If you click on Start Now, click on Admin Tools. If you come down, you see Windows Server Update Services, Windows Deployment Services. So this is Windows Deployment Services. Double click here, you can see that I have KDE SFO DC01. Windows Server is not configured. Deployment Services is not configured yet. So we have to configure it. You right click on it for the first time, click on Configure Server, and then click on Next. How do you want to install WDS? Should it be integrated with Active Directory or it is a standalone? If you don't have Active Directory in your network, you choose this, but we have Active Directory and it's good to integrate it for features, better features. Okay, now where do you want to put your images? For example, Windows 10 image, Windows Server image, all images. Where do you want to put it? We can put it in a separate space, but I don't have any other drive. That's why I'm putting it here. But in real life, you will put it somewhere where you have more space and it's like drive D, drive E. You can put it there. Click on Next. The volume you selected is also Windows volume. Yeah, I know. So it is telling me that drive C is Windows volume. Are you sure? Yeah, because I'm testing it, so it's fine. Do not listen on DHCP and DHCP version 6 port. Configure DHCP options for proxy DHCP. So it is telling me that if DHCP is running on this server, check both of the following. So what it is telling me? It is telling me that if you already have DHCP server installed here, you have to choose these two. Because if DHCP is installed here and you have WDS installed here, there may be some conflict. So you just tell it that do not listen to DHCP. Click on Next. And then do not respond to any client computer. Respond only to known client computer. Respond to all client computer. What does it mean? It means that whenever a computer is connected in our network and it tries to contact WDS, should WDS respond or no? So we can say respond to only known computer or responds to all computer, right? If we say that, it's not very much secure. So we have to approve it first. If I choose this, what will happen now? This is another security. WDS will respond to client, but it will ask for my approval first, for our approval first, if we choose this. So let's say respond to all client computers, and then we will say require approval. Next. Now it is configuring Windows deployment services. So now I'll click on finish after the installation is done. You can now see that it is there. You see this icon? What does it mean? It means WDS is not running. We have to click on all task and click on start. Now it is starting the services. Once the services is installed, then you see it is now green. What does it mean? It means WDS is now ready. Install images, we have nothing yet. Boot images, we have nothing yet. Pending devices, nothing yet. And drivers, if you want to install drivers too. So you can see that we have nothing in here yet. We don't have anything here yet. So what we can do is we can start configuring it. But before I configure it, I'll right click and click on properties. Once I click on properties, you can see that I have PXE response. PXE response is same configuration that we did. So I'll choose require administrator approval, because anytime someone connects to WDS, I want to approve it first. Active Directory services. Here you go. Client naming policy. You remember I was talking about computer names. How do you want to name your computers? How do you want to name your computers? So right now you see define how unknown client computers will be named. After the operating system is installed, how do you want to name them? How do you want to name them? Let's just say that I want to name them as, for example, let me fix that. I want to name them as KT. That's it. I want to name it KT and then hash is the number. So it will put number. KT SFO client 01001, something like that. So we want to name all of our computers like that. So once our computer is installed, it will name it like this. Computer account location, same domain as Windows deployment services. Where do you want to put the computer account? For example, if I click on browse, you can see that I have my organizational unit. I want to put it on HR organizational unit. Once computers are installed, what it will do is it will put it in our HR organizational unit. Okay, it is telling me that the computer name is wrong, so I remove the hash KDSFOC and 001. I want to put 001. If you use hash and special characters, you can put the naming convention. So that's how you can configure these three tabs. So if you want to do it based on machine name, you put %mark and say machine name, and then you can basically do what you can do % and number. So that's one thing that you can do. And another thing, KT, let's try that, KT SFO DC, not DC, client. Yeah, so you put machine name and then %, machine name, % and hash. Hash is what? Hash is the number. Hash is the number that you can put. So we will stop here and we will continue to our next video in next day.